The books, the work, I mean, most of you have probably heard a reading. Would it be okay if we can hear your voice and a story of yours? Because we selected something.
Okay.
Yeah. We're almost in Santa Claus season, Santa Claus. And there is this story that you wrote years ago, and your publisher in the Netherlands told me that it's 6 to 8 black men, but you really never have done it in the Netherlands for a live audience. In the States, it's a big success, this story. And we thought, let's give David Sedaris a good chair. We should stand up so they can change the whole thing here. We thought you need a comfortable chair. Please take a seat.
Okay.
Feel the chair. We took a piece from that story, and I hope you can.
Oh wow! Okay.
Read it from here.
Sure.
Here you go.
Let's see.
6 to 8 black men. David Sedaris.
Okay. In France and Germany, gifts are exchanged on Christmas Eve, while in Holland, the children receive presents on December 5th, in celebration of St. Nicholas Day. It sounded sort of quaint until I spoke to a man named Oscar who filled me in on a few of the details as we walked from my hotel to the Amsterdam train station. Unlike the jolly obese American Santa, St. Nicholas is painfully thin and dresses not unlike the Pope, topping his robes with a tall hat resembling an embroidered tea cozy. The outfit, I was told, is a carryover from his former career when he served as the Bishop of Turkey. One doesn't want to be too much of a cultural chauvinist, but this seemed completely wrong to me. For starters, Santa didn't used to do anything. He's not retired, and more important, he has nothing to do with Turkey. The climate's all wrong, and people wouldn't appreciate him. While our Santa flies in on a sled, St. Nicholas arrives by boat and then transfers to a white horse. The event is televised, and great crowds gather at the waterfront to greet him. Is it just him alone, I asked? Or does he come with some backup? Oscar's English was close to perfect, but he seemed thrown by a term normally reserved for police reinforcement. Helpers, I said. Does he have any elves? Maybe I'm just overly sensitive, but I couldn't help but feel personally insulted when Oscar denounced the very idea as grotesque and unrealistic. Elves, he said, they're just so silly. The words silly and unrealistic were redefined when I learned that St. Nicholas travels with what was consistently described as 6 to 8 black men. I asked several Dutch people to narrow it down, but none of them could give me an exact number. It was always 6 to 8, which seems strange, seeing as they've had hundreds of years to get a decent count. The 6 to 8 black men were characterized as personal slaves until the mid-50s, when the political climate changed, and it was decided that instead of being slaves, they were just good friends. I think history has proven that something usually comes between slavery and friendship. A period of time marked not by cookies and quiet times beside the fire, but by bloodshed and mutual hostility. They have such violence in Holland, but rather than duking it out amongst themselves, Santa and his former slaves decided to take it out on the public. In the early years, if a child was naughty, St. Nicholas and the 6 to 8 black men would beat him with what Oscar described as the small branch of a tree. A switch? Yes, he said, that's it. They'd kick him and beat him with a switch. Then, if the youngster was really bad, they'd put him in a sack and take him back to Spain. St. Nicholas would kick you? Well, not anymore, Oscar said. Now he just pretends to kick you. And the 6 to 8 black men? Them too. He considered this to be progressive, but in a way, I think it's almost more perverse than the original punishment. I'm going to hurt you, but not really. How many times have we fallen for that line? The fake slap invariably makes contact, adding the elements of shock and betrayal to what had previously been plain old-fashioned fear. What kind of Santa spends his time pretending to kick people before stuffing them into a canvas sack? Then, of course, you've got the 6 to 8 former slaves who could potentially go off at any moment. This, I think, is the greatest difference between us and the Dutch. While a certain segment of our population might be perfectly happy with the arrangement, if you told the average white American that 6 to 8 nameless black men would be sneaking into his house in the middle of the night, he would barricade the doors and arm himself with whatever he could get his hands on. 6 to 8, did you say? her Christmas story remains relatively simple. Santa lives with his wife in a remote polar village and spends one night a year traveling around the world. If you're bad, he leaves you coal. If you're good and live in America, he'll give you just about anything you want. We tell our children to be good and send them off to bed where they lie awake, anticipating their great bounty. A Dutch parent has a decidedly hairier story to relate, telling his children, listen, you might want to pack a few of your things together before you go to bed. The former Bishop of Turkey will be coming tonight, along with 6 to 8 black men. They might put some candy in your shoes, they might stuff you into a sack and take you to Spain, or they might just pretend to kick you. We don't know for sure, but we want you to be prepared. This is a reward for living in Holland. As a child, you get to hear this story, and as an adult, you get to turn around and repeat it. As an added bonus, the government has thrown in legalized drugs and prostitution. So what's not to love about being Dutch?